I'm so grateful to have Libby Emmons from the Post Millennial. She's actually the writer of this story I'm going to be talking about. She writes for The Federalist, The New York Post, Spectator, and many more. Thank you for joining us again, Libby.
Sure thing.
Libby, first of all, my first question has to be, for months, Biden said we needed a reopening plan, and he really kind of banked on the fact that he was going to be the guy to bring that in. And now Jen Psaki, the press secretary, who's become the only person who speaks for Joe Biden, is saying that he trusts the Chicago mayor and the unions to get this done. Why the shift from him making the plan to all of a sudden him kind of throwing his hands up and saying, they'll figure it out?
Well, I think it's interesting because I don't think he ever had any intention of making a plan. I think he was always waiting for the unions to make a plan that he could just go along with. And in fact, when he came into office, or before that, when he was elected, the National Education Association, which is the largest union in the country, I'm pretty sure at like 3 million members, represents an awful lot of teachers, gave the Biden-Harris administration their plan for reopening, which was $175 billion, I believe, which is also what the president has proposed is necessary in order to get schools open, and had a variety of things listed in that plan that needed to be done before schools could open, including curriculum standards, including hiring a whole bunch more teachers, including building retrofits and all of this stuff. So when Biden says he has a plan to get schools open in 100 days, working with the new ed secretary, it's actually just the NEA's plan that's that's looking at being implemented. And it's a lot of the same stuff that the Chicago Teachers Union is asking for. And they're so powerful. I mean, this teachers union seems to be remarkably powerful. They strike a lot. And now what's interesting, too, is what does a walkout look like when you're refusing to go to work in the first place?
Right. They're saying that they're not going to come to school, but they will be doing the same kind of remote learning. But then the teachers, or I guess I'm confused by the whole thing, because then other people are saying, oh, well, we'll shut down the computers and you can't teach from home. It's kind of bizarre.
Right. The whole thing is bizarre. And in fact, so the Chicago Public Schools have been trying to get the schools open since the summer. That's when they start. And the schools have been closed since March, right? So they've been trying since summer to get the teachers union to the table and get the schools open. And the teachers union in Chicago has consistently refused to even negotiate unless certain terms are met even before they come to the table, which doesn't make any sense. So you have a school district that is trying to get Chicago kids educated, and the teachers union refusing to do so. The additional plans in, the Biden plan to get schools reopened is they want more access for remote learning, not less. They want to amp up all of this stuff. And we know that from countless studies, right? We know that having kids sit in front of screens all day is a garbage thing to do. It creates a bad life, it creates miserable kids, and it creates complete social dysfunction. And now this is what we're pressing for. I mean, my kid yesterday, God bless him, he sits there across the dining room table from me. He does his work, I do my work. By the end of the day, we're both just so miserable because we have only talked to each other, which, I love my kid, but he needs a proper life. I can't be his whole world, for goodness sake. He's 10 years old. What is this that we're asking people to do? We're asking kids to sacrifice their entire social lives, their educational lives. But the thing in Chicago is just insane that now you have the president saying he trusts this union. This is the same union where an executive from the union went to Puerto Rico, posted pictures of herself sunbathing on Instagram, and from Puerto Rico was telling teachers to not go back to school. There's teachers that won't go back to school even though they don't have a medical excuse. And the public schools are like, if you have a medical excuse, you can't go back to school. Of course, we will accommodate you. But the teachers won't go back even when they, don't have that that specific kind of medical exemption, which
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense either.
And Libby, something I noticed was in your piece, you quote Jen Psaki, and she says about Joe Biden, he trusts the mayor and the unions to work this out. They're both prioritizing the right things, which is ensuring the health and safety of the kids and teachers and working to make sure the children in Chicago are getting the education they deserve. I don't buy that, because if they were both prioritizing the right thing, then we could come to a solution and move on and get these kids in school. So who's not prioritizing the right thing in this situation?
I think you're exactly right. I was floored by that quote, that she even said that. I think it's clear that the teachers' unions are not prioritizing the students. They're prioritizing their own fears and terrors, which have been completely manufactured by the entire Democratic Party since March. You know, they've been losing their minds over this. Everyone's hair is on fire. Kids are not at serious risk of this. They're not, spreaders of this. And even the age group that most teachers are in, which is like under 55, is not at great risk. So
Right.
What is this even about? This is, I think, a lot of this and a lot of the $175 billion that is being requested is not even about masks and testing and all of that stuff. New York City schools, and I'm no fan of Mayor Bill de Blasio. I'm definitely not. But
if you were, I would say, Libby, you're his one fan. So I'm glad to know that you're not the one.
I'm not a fan. But at least we have schools are sort of moving in the direction of being open. We have 3 days a week that kids are in school. I think it should be 5, but we do have 3. And there has not been a serious outbreak. There have not been a ton of teachers getting sick and going home and dying. None of this has been happening. They're careful. They require testing. They require all of these stupid things. But there has not been any, none of these things that everyone's terrified of having happen have happened. Private schools are open in Chicago. What is this all about? That rich kids can go to school and the rest of our kids just have to have no education?
And Libby,
lunacy.
This doesn't play as well on the radio, unfortunately, but I think you could probably describe it to us in a way that would be just as entertaining. Can you tell us about the dance teachers?
Oh, my goodness. Well, so first of all, there's dance teachers employed by the Chicago public school system. And for some reason, they have plenty of money for dance teachers, right? But they don't have money for masks or whatever else they need. So a group of dance teachers got together and put together socially distanced interpretive dance, where each of them did their own interpretive dance in their own space. Some of them danced with their kids, and some of them were alone in frigid landscapes of Illinois. And they did this interpretive dance about how terrified they are of going back to school and how they shouldn't have to go back to school. And they released this on January 23rd. They actually, with pride, put this out on social media so that everyone could see their dancing fears. And it's terrible interpretive dance.
Yeah, I know.
I studied theater for a long time. I've known a lot of dancers. There's some great modern dancers out there that really know what they're doing. These are not they. I don't know what they're employed to teach, but it shouldn't be dance. Maybe it should be self-pity, solipsism. I don't know. But the other thing, too, that I found so amazing about the release of this interpretive dance video for keeping teachers from going back to work was that the union actually said that these are rank and file dance teachers.
Oh, God.
Rank and file dance teachers. Now, when you talk about labor history and you have rank and file, we're talking about union members who work in factories, who negotiate for better pay and working conditions. That's what rank and file is about. It's a lot of, skilled or unskilled labor. But if you're a dance teacher in a major metropolitan school system, you have a master's degree. In what universe is someone with a master's degree a rank and file worker?
In Biden universe, Libby, you know that. Libby Emmons is from the Post Millennial. She's fabulous. She writes for the Federalist, the New York Post. And Libby, I want to have you on again soon because I'd love to start going over. I know that you're based in New York, and I know a lot of people that I also follow are in Florida right now. And then you write about how Chicago is the epicenter of the school reopening conflict. But it will be interesting to see this play out because so many kids across our country are going to have different levels of education after this horrible year we've all had. And it'll be interesting to see how we kind of cope with this new landscape of some people being, some people getting an education and some people learning from their computer. Libby Emmons, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Guys, if you've been thinking of getting away to the Fallensby Inn, please consider coming the weekend of February 19th. I'm announcing my first listener getaway, and I cannot wait to enjoy a wonderful weekend with all of you that take advantage of this offer. For just my listeners, you will receive 10% off that weekend. Besides enjoying a cocktail by the fire, I cannot wait. We will also enjoy Dennis's famous homemade breakfast. My first deal for the Fallensby Inn sold out right away. Everyone knows how much I love it. I told my parents about it and they went. They loved it. Dennis put so much attention into the design of the 17 unique historic guest rooms. They're absolutely beautiful. You'll feel so comfy, so warm. And there's this beautiful fire he sets up every night and you can walk around. If you just love to walk around and be in a beautiful place, this is the vacation for you. This time of year, you can take advantage of the Inn snowshoes and discover the beautiful area. To reserve your room today, go to fallensbyinn.com. Excellence is assured. TripAdvisor has given the Fallensby Inn the Hall of Fame Award for 2018 and 2019. That's fallensbyinn.com. Just a reminder, I will be there the weekend of February 19th. That is our weekend getaway for all the listeners. So make sure you check that out. fallensbyinn.com, the best of the past. We will be right back. This is The Grace Curley Show.
She's never held office, but she paid the whiskey priest's monthly rent once. She's Grace Curley.